welcome back to the channel Living in the Philippines. This is the 9th video of playlist of cities to visit in the Philippines. It is all about the island of Bohol in Visayas region. Bohol is an island of 4,823 square kilometers with over 1.2 million inhabitants. The capital is Tagbilaran, located in southwest of the island with an airport and a port which receives the majority of visitors. Bohol is a must-see destination for independent travelers as the island offers so much to see and to do. The Tarsheer. The Philippine tarsier is the smallest primate in the world, measuring between 8 to 12 centimeters in size and a very large eyes that are fixed in their sockets. It can rotate its head almost 360 degrees and move by jumping from branch to branch and jumps up to 6 meters. Long threatened by domestication and tourism, the Philippine tarsier was considered an endangered species in 1980s. Fortunately, thanks to state-sponsored conservation program, its wild population is back today growing. If it sounds familiar to you, it's because you remember Gizmo from Steven Spielberg's Gremlins movie, for which Chris Wallace is charged of special effects inspired by tarsier. There are two places to visit these little primates in Bohol Island, at the Tarsier Conservation Area in Loboc and at the Philippine Tarsier Sanctuary in the town of Corellia. I recommend the one in Corellia, which is more ethical, with a replica closest to their natural habitat. Located 13 kilometers from Tagbilaran, halfway between Corellia and Sikatuna, from the Dao Terminal in Tagbilaran, buses to Sikatuna make the trip in 45 minutes for 30 pesos. The visit lasts about 20 minutes following a path among the trees accompanied by a guide who indicates where the tarsiers are. There are nocturnal manifolders, so they are quite lethargic during the day. The number of visitors in park is limited. Silence is required and flashes are prohibited so as not to disturb them because they are so very sensitive to stress. At the end of the visit, there is an exhibition describing their way of life as well as a small souvenir shop. The sanctuary welcomes visitors from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Admission is 60 pesos per person. Chocolate Hills. Chocolate Hills is an unusual geological formation made up of more than 1,200 cone-shaped hills, 30 to 50 meters high, spread over more than 50 square kilometers. They owe their name to their shape and vegetation, which turns brown towards the end of the dry season from March to May. One of the best views of the hills is at the Chocolate Hills complex. It is a large terrace, one of the hills, accessible by staircase of 100 steps. Entrance fee is 50 pesos per person. The best time to see them is at the first light of dawn when the hills take on their chocolate color, which getting brighter every minute. The Chocolate Hills complex is located 50 kilometers from Tagbilaran, an hour by two-wheel transport. The route uses good and crowded roads that are ideal for two-wheelers for those willing to cover long distances. Buses leave from Dao Terminal in Tagbilaran towards Carmen. The trip lasts 2 hours and costs 80 pesos. Loboc River. This river is a perfect place for lunch. Restaurant boat runs along the Loboc River bordered by coconut groves. The round trip lasts approximately 1 hour. The time of meal served as a buffet and animated by a group of musicians. The meal is good, plentiful, and the setting is really beautiful. Pontoons have been set up along the river where the boats moor for a few minutes for a show of traditional dancers. Then it continues to Visayas Falls before turning around. A very original and pleasant moment in a magnificent setting. It will start at the Loboc River Bridge, 3 kilometers south of the city, located 25 kilometers from Tagbilaran, 40 minutes by transport. The rate is 550 pesos per person. Manmade Forest. Manmade Forest, also known as the Bilar Forest, is a mahogany forest that lines the sloping land between the municipalities of Loboc and Bilar. It is crossed for 2 kilometers by the road to go to Chocolate Hills. A moment of very pleasant freshness with the refreshing air released by the trees. Its creation is the result of a reforestation project which began in 1947 on an area of nearly 20,000 hectares in order to repair the damage caused by the practice of kaingin, which had decimated the forest. The originality of the project is to have selected mahogany, which is a native tree from South and Central America. Kadapdapan Rice Fields. There are magnificent rice terraces located 100 kilometers from Tagbilaran, 2 hours and 30 minutes transport. A long but very beautiful journey. Vans to Kadihay leave from Dao Terminal in Tagbilaran. The trip cost around 150 pesos per person. From the Kadihay Public Market, motorcycles wait the passengers to reach Kadapdapan in approximately 15 minutes. On the last part of the way, you will have to pay the entrance fees of the rice fields, 50 pesos per person. A magnificent place off the beaten track that adventurers will love. 10 to 15 minutes from the rice fields is the two-level Kan Umantad di Kandihay waterfall and its many natural pools with turquoise blue waters, ideal for refreshing swim. Entrance fee for the waterfall is 20 pesos per person. Here is a map of Bohol with location shown. A route over 2 days or more with a distance of 210 kilometers allows you to visit all sites. The route starts in Tagbilaran towards Kadapdapan by the seaside. The distance is 100 kilometers and requires 2 hours and 30 minutes drive. On site, visit the rice terraces of Kadapdapan and swimming at Kan Umantad waterfall. Then go to Carmen to spend the night there and to be near to the Chocolate Hills to admire them at sunrise. The distance is 50 kilometers and requires 1 hour drive. A distance to be covered before nightfall for safety reasons, either before 6 p.m. Maybe some prefer to sleep near Kadapdapan to spend an extra day in rice fields and waterfall. The next day, wake up at dawn to admire the Chocolate Hills at sunrise at Chocolate Hills Complex. Then go to Loboc crossing the Manmade Forest. The distance is 30 kilometers and requires 1 hour. On the spot, the meal break on the restaurant boat on the Loboc River. Then going to the sanctuary of Tarsheer in Corelia, the distance is 15 kilometers and requires 30 minutes. And finally, back to Tagbilaran, the distance is 15 kilometers and requires 30 minutes. Renting a scooter for several days costs around 300 pesos per day. Be careful not to underestimate the travel times and avoid driving at night outside the build-up area. How to go to Bohol? From Cebu, ferries reach the port of Tagbilaran in 4 hours and 30 minutes for 275 pesos, and fast boats makes the same trip in 2 hours for 500 pesos. Flights reach Tagbilaran Airport in 20 minutes for approximately 1,500 pesos. This is a 9-seater plane from Mactan International Airport. From Manila, flights reach Tagbilaran Airport in 1 hour and 30 minutes for approximately 1,800 pesos. The port of Tagbilaran is very well located to continue the trip in Visayas region, towards Dumaguete, Siquijor, Cebu, or Mindanao. I hope you like this video. The next video will be all about the island of Panglao, located just 15 kilometers from Tagbilaran. Don't forget to subscribe and activate the bell to receive a notification when it's published. A big thank you for your support and your encouragement. Please feel free to comment on topics that interest you. Take care and see you soon!